Okay, so porridge and cookies. Okay, so this is my VAX Blade 2 Max test, porridge and cookies. Okay, so I haven't really had a look at the settings here, so that's power. Oh yeah. So basically we've got power, plus gives you like a boost, and then this is brush roller. So let's see what happens. So that was on low power with the brush roller. As you could see, it just pushed the cookies along, and that's because it's got really quite a low brush bar. It really, you can feel it kind of pulling you along. You can feel the brushes pulling you along, and it does. I mean, the porridge it picked up very well. I know the cookies test is ridiculous. I admit that, but I always like to do it because I started off doing it, and it's interesting to me that some can pick it up and some can't. It did pick it up when I plonked it on top, but as you can see, I've got quite a small window to be able to be accurate to catch that up, but it did grab it and it did pull it through, but not like well, I'm going to redo the shark one that I didn't do last week because the porridge and cookies test went really well on that, and also I know that on the V8 and the V10 it does really well on the Dysons. So that's how that went. Let's just try it on full power just in case. Okay, so it is more, it's not a lack of suction, but because that brush bar is as high, is as low as it is, that's why that it doesn't pick up bigger objects. Obviously you can pick it up and plonk it on top of it, but some of the others will just let you ride all the way through it. As a cleaner, what I've noticed, let's just try and get this on a decent angle. So the old VAX system, I didn't like the weight on the wrist, so I didn't think it was a bad cleaner by any means, but the weight on the wrist here was uncomfortable. On this one, I like it, and it does feel comfortable. It's not that light, and in fact I'll weigh it. So 2,114 grams. It's not that light, but it is more comfortable to hold. The buttons are decent, the ejecting is decent. I think it's a reasonable cleaner. I think they've certainly improved it. I do like it. I still would buy my Dyson. I prefer the Shark to this one as well, but then I like this sort of design where it's very easy to go under objects, so you know, get right down and go under sofas and things like that. That's quite a nice side of it. Okay, so I did this test before, but I didn't turn the brush roller on. I don't think it's going to make a difference, so this is going to be on low power with brush roller. Okay, as you can see, it's definitely creates a nice little line of them. I'll just try it on high power, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. Okay, let's just try that on carpet and see how that fares. Okay, so this will be on low power with brush roller first. Yeah, so on carpet, that test was fine, and it's because the carpet is creating a bit of resistance, so the roller can ride over it. So actually carpet performance works very well, and it's still picking up bigger objects. I like the way the bin comes off, I like the way it empties, and but I just think that brush bar for me is a little too low. Now it's going to be fine for small objects, but if you get anything a little bit bigger, I mean those bits of cat food aren't particularly big, but it wouldn't even do that on carpet. So the reason that they might make this gap very low, and there's nothing kind of pushing it up, I suppose it's ever so slightly tapered, but I mean such a small angle. So you can see that floor tool has got a tiny little angle up, but otherwise it's flat, and there's nothing actually raising this up. If I go and get my V7 brush bar, so on a V7 brush bar you can see that the angle is much steeper, and also it has these little wheels that elevate it, so that creates a channel for bigger objects to go through. Now this isn't the best for picking up bigger objects by any means, but the fluffy head is, because it's completely open, so it doesn't matter that it's, well, I mean it is sloped up, but it kind of just grabs and pulls things in. But I've got another review on the fluffy head, which, you know, is aside from this is all about the VAX, so I'll put these Dyson bits away. Okay, so I'll put up some stills now of how the design has changed, and definitely for the better. The weighting is much better. They've moved the whole way the motor is, and this ejects and everything, so it's actually a much nicer machine. I mean, I didn't dislike the VAX blade, but this Blade 2 Max, they've definitely thought about it, and they've definitely built it better. So this part comes off now. There we go. And there's a little opening thing, similar to the old one, where it's sprung open, so if you're ejecting it. But the idea is that this is an easier thing to carry around, to be able to empty. Now there's a filter in here. Now I haven't, it says push to unlock here. I'll try and get around the side so you can see what I'm doing. So it says push to unlock. Push outwards. Oh yeah, okay. I mean, again, these are all new. So this filter looks very much like one of the mains powered Dysons. Oh, so the whole bin comes out. You can see that whole thing comes out actually quite easily, and it doesn't look like there's any orientation that needs to be there to go back in. So that's, yeah, that's good. That's pretty easy. So that's the bin, so you can get to all of those bits. And then this filter, I think, unscrews, or does it just pull out? Oh no, it probably just pulls out, doesn't it? Yeah, so that's a washable filter. I'm guessing it's a lifetime washable filter. I'll check in the instructions and try and leave a note in the comments. So that clips back in. This is like a metal gauze. And then, so if we drop that back in, actually goes together well. It's not, let me just try, see again, it's not that, you know, I've not got weak hands, and you do have to give it a bit of a push to get that in, but that is when you clean the filter, which is probably not super often, but, and then if I press that, you can see that ejects, so that's when you're going to empty it out. And then to clip it back in, they come with, when they're new, they come with stickers to show you, but basically it's this part here, that goes in, and then clips down. And that's quite a satisfying, that action, yeah, that's decent. So I like that. That's certainly not something that you're going to struggle with. So you could just flip it open with the whole machine as it is, but it's quite a weight when you're carrying it like that. So I can see why they've done it, that you would take that apart. It's not like, you know, my V7 where you pull up and it ejects straight down, which I prefer. But yeah, that's all right, and it makes sense. Okay, so VAX Blade 2 Max, what do I think? Yeah, it's reasonable. It's certainly a big improvement on the older VAXs. I really didn't like the weight on the wrist of the older VAXs, and this design is certainly better. The angle is much better. It's still a heavy machine, but certainly when you're using it, the ergonomics of it are better, so it just feels more comfortable. This is still a little stiff, and I've taken it off several times, although that said, that was better. Yeah, that's actually freeing up already. So initially they do start off stiff, but after a while it looks like they come off quite nicely. The bar feels fairly solid. I definitely like what they've done with this. So the fact that this just lifts up and then you just pop that, I won't do it because it's full of dirt, pop that and it springs open. That's a decent design. And I also like the filter, and this has also got freer as time's gone on, so that's not quite as hard to get out. Again, not as easy as a Dyson, but still pretty good. And this filter, you can see not a lot's got up there, so that's done its job pretty well. So let's clip that back in. The crevice tool as well, it's a bit of a strange one, that I can't really guess why a crevice tool would be quite so wide, because the idea is that it gets into crevices, and I don't really see that getting into crevices. The dock is sort of cheap plastic, but I'm sure it will do its job if you're careful with it, and that design with the cable was alright, so the cable's not going to fall on the floor. So overall, I would definitely rather my V7. I preferred the performance of the Shark in my last test, the 160, but a lot of it depends on price. You know, these have only just come out. I think they're about $250 at the moment. Undoubtedly they're going to come down, and then when the price is right, it's still a decent cleaner. It's got good battery life. The pickup was reasonable. It's quite nice to use. It looks good. Yeah, I'm happy to recommend it. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.